So a couple of the problems that you did for today's section, 20, 22, 24, they had some multiplying of roots. Remember when we were talking about reducing? I don't see any fractions here. But when we were talking about reducing roots, and we said, for instance, if I had something like that, you can reduce things that are inside roots as long as they're both inside. And you can reduce things, for instance, if they're both outside. But you cannot reduce if it's an inside and an outside. They both either have to be inside or they both have to be outside. So today we're going to multiply. And what I started to say was 20, 22, 24, they had some multiplying. Similar to the dividing, you multiply things that are outsides together, and you multiply things that are insides together. You can never multiply something on the inside with something on the outside. It's got to be outside times outside, inside times inside. When you're doing roots, when you're multiplying roots, outside times outside, inside times inside. If I asked you to simplify this, could you add these together inside? No. Why not? Right, they're not the same. I've got a root of 2 and a root of 3. You can't put those together. So the next thing to do is use the distributive law. You know, if I had something like this, we would use the distributive law, right? We would take this thing times the first term, and then we would take this times the second term. Well, that's pretty much what we do up there, except now we're multiplying roots. We're going to take this thing times the first thing, and then we'll take this thing times the second. So, and just keep in mind, outside times outside, inside times inside. What do you get outside? 2 times 3 is 6. What do you get inside? 4. And then you move over and do this one times the next. What do you get outside? Roots of inside times inside? 6. Is it simplified?
No.
What is root of 4? 2. So this is really 6 times 2. I don't think you can simplify root of 6 at all. What is 6 times 2? 12 plus 10 roots of 6. Can I add those together?
No.
No, because one's a root and one's not a root. You can only add them together if they're the same. That's what we just spent a couple of lessons on, right? So my answer would be 12 plus 10 roots of 6. Does that make sense? Outside times outside, inside times inside. What would I do if I had that? How would you multiply that out? You know, the F word. Foil it. You would foil it, right? You'd start here and multiply times both of those, and then you'd move over and do this one times both of those. Well, that's sort of today's lesson, except we're doing it with roots. We're doing it with roots now. But it's basically the same thing. It's basically FOIL. So you start here. What's 4 times 3?
12.
12, not bad. Then you move over and do this times, is this inside or outside of a root? Outside. So then you multiply it with this outside. What's 4 times negative 5? Negative 20. And this one doesn't have an inside to multiply. So it's just negative 20 roots of 7. Does that make sense? Then we're going to move over and do this thing times both. Outside times outside. 3 times 2 is, and then this is an inside. That one doesn't have an inside, so it's just 6 roots of 7 then. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, 2 roots of 7 times negative 5 roots of 7. Outside times outside.
Negative 10.
Negative 10 roots of inside times inside.
49.
Now I get a 49.
And that's
You
7.
multiply outsides times outsides, insides times insides.
14 roots of 7 minus 10.
Say that again.
14 roots of 7.
He says, those are like terms, right? They're both roots of 7. That's what we did in the last lesson or two. You multiplied roots of, or I mean, not multiplied. You added and subtracted roots that were the same. So I have negative 20 of these plus 6 of those. Isn't that negative 14?
Mm-hmm.
And then down here,
Minus 10 times 7.
I have a root of 7. What is a root of 7? It's a root of 49, which is 7. So this is 10 times 7. What is 10 times 7? So minus 70. And then what?
Oh, I think we can put the 12 in front of these guys.
I think you're right, John. I've got a positive 12 and a negative 70. I borrowed $70 and I paid you 12 back. I still owe you, I think 58, negative 58, minus 14 roots of 7. Can you put those two together?
No.
Because they're not like roots.
I know I can't see the bottom, but I don't know.
You can't?
No.
No.
I don't know if the camera can though.
It's negative 58 minus 14 roots of 7. Anybody with questions yet? Anyone? Yes.
Would it be fine to write it the opposite way and write negative 14 roots of 7 minus 58?
Yes. If you wrote it as negative 14 roots of 7 minus 58, that would also be fine. Yep, I would take either one. Either one. I would take either one. Anything else? All right. I'm pretty sure if I asked you to do this,
I don't know what that is.
you cannot, did everybody hear me say, you cannot just square this and square this. What does square mean? Multiply it by itself. Now, I wish there were a shortcut, but every other shortcut gets you the wrong answer. There is no shortcut. You have to multiply it out like this. There is no shortcut. No shortcut. You have to multiply it out. So start here. What do you get? Outside times outside. Inside times inside. Then move over. Now, what do I assume is out there?
1.
So I have 2 times negative 1.
Negative 2.
Roots of inside times inside, 18. Now move over this one. And again, we assume there's a 1. Negative 1 times 2. roots of inside times inside. And then finally, -1 times -1, root of 36. And then you can go back and simplify. What's root of 9?
3.
So this is really 4 times 3, which is 12.
Those two in the middle are the same exact
Say that again?
thing. The two in the middle are the same exact thing.
Say that again?
The two in the middle are the same exact thing.
Oh yeah, the 2's in the middle are the same thing. I have -2 of those and another -2 of those. -4 of those. Can I do anything with the 18?
No.
Marshall says yes. Can I do anything with the 18? Remember our simplifying? Square root of 18 is not simplified. What perfect square goes into 18? Times 2. 9 times 2. And why did we choose 9? Because what's the square root of 9? So 12, take away 4 times 3, square roots of 2. What is that? 12 minus 12 roots of 2 so far. And then we have this. What's the square root of 36?
6.
So plus 6, plus 6, plus 6, plus 6. Done?
No.
Why not? Right. Very good, very good. I've got a 12. I've got a 6. What do I get if I combine those? 18 minus 12 roots of 12. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we good so far?
Yes.
Is that simplified? What are you not allowed to have? Square root in the bottom. How do you get rid of it? Multiply by square root of 3, square root of 3. 2 roots of 3 over root of, which is 2 roots of 3 over 3. Can I reduce that root 3 with the not root 3? No. They both either have to be inside or both outside. Now, why do I mention that? Because there's a problem over there that looks like this. And there's a root in the denominator. And there's a root. See that? There's a root in the denominator. There is a root in the denominator. Will this reach over? No. No. So, remember we multiplied by root 3 over root 3 to get rid of it? So, what should I do here? Everyone always says, well, multiply by root 5 over root 5. That's a good guess, right? That'll give us root 25 and that'll go away. But then we got a problem right here. Isn't that 3 roots of 5? Minus root of 25. So when we multiply, the root goes away here, but then guess what? Oh no. Now what?
Don't those two cancel out? Because there's a positive roots of 5 and a negative roots of 5.
Yeah, but it's a plus and a minus. Remember, you can't cancel if you have plus and minus, only times. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So now what? I got a little trick to show you. It's a little trick. It's not really a little trick. It's almost like this. See, this works when you only have one term. But when you have 2 terms, you have to do something a little bit different. You see this denominator right there? I'm going to multiply top and bottom by something called the conjugate. See this denominator right there? I'm going to multiply by that same thing, but the opposite sign. Whatever your denominator is, you're going to multiply by the exact same thing with the opposite sign. Top and bottom. Now, what it really amounts to is two problems like the ones we just did. You're going to have to FOIL it out. What's 3 times 3? 9. 3 times root 5. 3 roots of 5. Move over. I have 3 times negative root 5. Yeah, minus 3 roots of 5. And then I have negative root 5 times positive. We assume there's a 1 out there. Negative 1 times positive 1. Root of look what happens in the middle. This is going to be a beautiful thing. Are you watching? This is going to be a beautiful thing. I can tell you're impressed, Dinkus. You look impressed. You're on the edge of your seat just waiting. He's on the edge of his seat just waiting. Look what happens right here. Prepare to be amazed. They drop out. Are you amazed? You don't look amazed. So on bottom, I have 9 minus, what's the square root of 25? So I have 9 minus 5, which is 4 on my bottom. Now, the top is going to be a different story, but at least we got rid of the root in the denominator, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you get?
9.
9. 3 roots of 5. Move over. Now we do this. Another 3 roots of 5. And, whew, looks like I have 9.
6 roots of 5.
6 roots of 5 plus 5. What is 9 plus 5?
14.
Whew. Whew. Am I done? Am I done? Remember the good old days when I could just work in here? The good old days. You don't remember the good old days because you weren't in here. I'd walk around and right in everyone's face. My favorite. Am I done?
No.
Marshall says no. Do we believe him, Corrigan?
Sure.
He says, no, we're not done. That means more work. Are we done? Why not?
4 and 14.
So, this is a plus, right? Remember, you cannot cancel with plus. However, what do you notice goes into all of these?
2.
2. So what we could do is factor out a 2 out of both of those. If I take a 2 out of 14, 7. And if I take a 2 out of 6, it's 3. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 root, parenthesis, 2, 7 plus 3 roots of 5 all over 4. And now, because this is 2 times the rest, 2 goes in there once, 2 goes in there twice. I can cancel those, and I get 7 plus 3 roots of 5 all over
2.
Makes sense?
Yes.
Are you ready for me to be quiet now? Are you timing me, Corrigan? My time up?
Yeah.
Time's up. Do you have questions? Are there any questions? Does anyone have a question? Does that seem about page 275, 276? Here, we'll go right here. Page 275, 276, WE 1 to 25, but if you're nice to me, I'll do odds. Right here, the odds. Right there, the odds.